as you know, it has been a bumper set of elections taking place over the last 24 hours, marking the biggest test for the government and Sir Keir Starmer since the general election in July.
But in the end, it's Reform UK who've come out absolutely triumphant, clinching not just the mayoralties in Greater Lincolnshire and in Hull and East Yorkshire, but also 10 councils across the country and 677 councillors.
Oh, is that what the final came out at? Heck. In contrast, to say it was a bruising night for Labour and the Conservatives is underplaying it, frankly. Neither party managed to gain or hold council control. The Tories were hit the hardest. I mean, they had the most seats up for grabs, so that was inevitable, really. Hemorrhaging 677 seats, Labour lost 189.
But there were glimmers of success in the mayoral races, with Labour bagging the West of England, Doncaster and North Tyneside. The Conservatives held on to Cambridgeshire and Peterborough.
It was also a very good day, actually, for the Liberal Democrats. They picked up 163 seats and control of 3 councils. That puts them second. So Reform first, Lib Dems second.
Yeah, which puts the others third and fourth, which is, I mean, who would have thunk? Here's what the main party leaders have been saying following those results.
Get it. We were elected in last year to bring about change. That's what people desperately want. We started that work. The NHS waiting lists are down. Wages are up more than prices. Interest rates are down. But the message from these results, I think, is go further, go faster. That chimes with what I want to do.
We always knew that this was going to be a challenging election. I'd been saying that right from the minute that I became leader of the party late last year. And we are renewing our party. We are rebuilding, but it's going to be a long journey.
The Conservatives have been routed. People didn't like them last year at the national level, and they haven't liked them, what they've been doing at the local level. And they've really responded to a very positive campaign from the Liberal Democrats about doing things in the community, getting things actually done, and whether it's fixing potholes or sorting out social care, Liberal Democrats, I think, have been listening to people, and people have liked what we've said.
We have replaced, no question, we have replaced the Conservative Party. We are now the opposition. We are now the ones that will take on Keir Starmer. And it is in many ways, it is the death of two-party politics.
Let's talk to political commentator Theo Usherwood. We've been here before,
we have,
Theo, but is this actually the death of two-party politics?
Yes. That's the short answer. I think if you look at these set of results, an astonishing set of results, and I think before yesterday when Nigel Farage said he had an ambition to be Prime Minister, we journalists and the public might have looked at him slightly quizzically and thought, really? Could you really be Prime Minister? After these set of election results, local election results, it really now does become a distinct possibility that Nigel Farage and Reform could form the next government. After Keir Starmer. It's an astonishing set of results. The Conservatives face wipeout. They lost 18 councils yesterday. They lost 2/3 of their councillors. Labour, I mean, they're on the verge of extinction on the basis of those results, and they've got more trouble coming next year because they've got the Metropolitan councils coming up for grabs as well.
This video is sponsored by Saily. Saily is a brand new eSIM service app. What it does is get you a local SIM card that you can use when you're travelling, so you don't have to pay those crazy roaming fees just to send a text back home. They've got eSIM plans in over 160 countries and 8 regions, so pretty much wherever you're going, they'll be able to make sure you're connected. So how does it work? Well, all you've got to do is hit our link in the description to download the app. It will work on iOS or Android. Buy a plan, you can choose the best time frame for you, and then just install the eSIM on your phone. When you land at your holiday destination, you can activate your plan instantly. Saily eSIMs only ever have to be installed once, so when you go on your next trip, you just buy a plan for a new country, turn that eSIM back on, and just like that, you could be watching the GB News YouTube channel. You can be connected anywhere you go, and you don't have to deal with patchy Wi-Fi in your hotels. So get sorted for your next trip by downloading Saely using the link in the description below, and if you use our code NEWS at checkout, you'll get an exclusive 15% discount on us.
And we can expect them to get hit hard from the left. And I think what's really difficult for Keir Starmer, and you heard him there say, "I get it," but what does he get? We've got an immigration white paper, which I think is probably going to go under some serious editing this week to try and toughen it up, to try and meet Farage head on. But at the same time, when you look at that result in Runcorn and Helsby, you could see, Keir Starmer wants to face off against Nigel Farage, but he's leaving the back door open for the Greens to come in and pick his pocket, and they won 2,300 votes. The other thing I would say is that there's no acknowledgement of the mistakes they made. The decision to scrap the winter fuel allowance has to be up there with the costliest mistakes in British political history. What did they raise? It raised £1.5 billion from it.
But they still think, from the way they talk, they still think they've done the right thing.
They still think they've done the right thing. It was a catastrophic mistake. You cannot, and the decision around the personal independence payments as well.
And surely inheritance tax on the farmers.
And the farmers, yes, I think in the shires, but I was just on Runcorn and Helsby, that was what those councillors and those Labour Party members and activists who went out on the doorstep, that's what they were getting back. Because if Labour isn't, Labour, when a political party goes into an election, they have to say, and they knock on the door, they deliver a leaflet, they knock on the door, and somebody answers the door and they say, "We want you to vote Labour because ... And if the Labour Party, and this is from what Labour MPs are saying now, if the Labour Party cannot stand up for fairness, equality, social justice, then what is the reason to vote for the Labour Party? And of course, the decision around winter fuel payments and the personal independence payments underscored that they just didn't have the Labour Party members and activists in their artillery when trying to persuade people that actually reform wasn't the answer.
But Labour aren't like the Tories, who might have already sacked their leader by now if the same thing had happened to them. Yeah. Labour won't be looking for another leader, or will they?
I think the noise is off. And these calls are going to grow, is that Keir Starmer, and this is a danger for Keir Starmer, and I think it's a danger more broadly for the Labour Party, is that he becomes a one-term Prime Minister, that actually they recognise that he can't go into the next election, fight the next election, otherwise they're just going to face decimation. But of course that brings with it its own challenges, because if Keir Starmer at this early stage, and I don't think this is going to happen, but if the trajectory is that he's just on a glide path to retirement, what's going to happen is that you're going to have all of the fighting around the edges, people like Wes Streetings, Angela Rayner's, and so forth, all vying to become the next leader, and that brings with it its own dangers. Having said that, I think also the leadership, the Kemi Badenoch, it looks terminal as well.
Yeah, we're almost out of time, Theo. So just quickly. There are problems here for reform as well, aren't there? Because now they've got power. They can't just do the talk. They've got to prove it now.
And you're completely right to mention that, Stephen. Nigel Farage has been sitting on the sidelines throwing rotten tomatoes. 14 years of Conservative mismanagement, 10 months of Labour doing no better. Why not try reform? Well, now the British public can try reform in those 10 councils that they've won. They're going to be in charge of ensuring that the bins are emptied, the potholes are filled, and the elderly are looked after properly. And that brings with it a different challenge. He's no longer just the insurgent party who wants to criticise from the sidelines. He actually has to organise his party to deliver services, and that's going to be a challenge.
OK, Theo, for now, thank you.